international bad boys of the game at 12:20. First on 4 with strong language from the start, the inside guide to the ultimate outsider.
Worshipped by devoted fans for 20 years and hailed by his peers as a genius. He's the outspoken outsider of British pop, living in self-imposed exile without a record deal. Morrissey remains what he's always been, a true original and a complete mystery.
Oscar Wilde put all his wit into his life. Morrissey, it seems to me, and I completely identify with Morrissey, has sat in a darkened room and been witty on paper.
He is one of the only people in pop who has managed to turn themselves into a virtual mythological archetype.
He's got an interesting face. He looks to have a story to tell.
His eccentricity lies in his mercurial nature, in his ambiguity about his sexuality, in the strength and intellectual force of his writing.
He's so catered for those sort of lonely misfits that spent a lot of time in their bedrooms.
There's certain feelings and ideas that he has, that he owns. He's an original of the species. There's not many of them.
He is certainly one of rock's great enigmas.
I don't think Morrissey's normal. I think he spent his entire adult life trying to be anything but normal.
I can't imagine him going in a trendy bar. I can't even imagine him walking through Notting Hill Gate.
Rumours about Morrissey abound, but no one knows the truth.
What do you think he's really like?
Nobody knows. You don't know, I don't know. I'd say his mother knows. He probably doesn't even know.
With his first major TV interview for 16 years and unprecedented access to his life on tour and at home in Los Angeles, it's time to put the record straight with an exclusive insight into what it's like being Morrissey.
At the end of the day, he lives in LA, he drives a truck, he goes to the beach. I don't think he's living in a dark room dressed in black. Very true.
The more you ignore me, the closer I get. You're wasting your time. The more you ignore me, the closer I get. You're wasting your time.
Age gives you a great sense of proportion, and you can be very hard on yourself when you're younger. But now I just think, well, everybody's absolutely mad, and I'm doing quite well.
Summer 2002, and Morrissey is on a world tour, attracting a new generation of fans.
Morrissey is the legend. He's an absolute legend. The best front man I've ever seen, and that's above Bono, that's above Liam Gallagher, that's above Mick Jagger, everybody.
Morrissey represents everything for us. He's our god here in Athens.
He gets better and better. The new material is just amazing. And he's still an enigma. There's still something there that keeps us all interested and keeps us here.
Now 43 years old, one of the most iconic men in rock music has returned home for 2 rare London concerts. Despite no publicity, all 10,000 tickets are sold out within a few hours.
This is the Churchill suite. These are the things that you end up doing for a television commercial. They're normal, isn't it? I mean, how many people did he send to their deaths just to make up the numbers?
When Morrissey comes to England, you fucking know about it. You know, not because he does a press conference at the airport, you know, or not because he's going down to the Met Bar. You know about it because you know about it, you know? It's as simple as that.
First night at the Royal Albert Hall, and expectations are high.
So here we are backstage, and as you can see, tension's mounting.
Even before he's on stage, I think that's amazing. Sort of, you hear those football chants, and Morrissey, Morrissey, the football chants start.
I smell assassination. I smell gunpowder.
Bells is the cue for Morrissey and the guys to walk out on.
That's the way it goes.
That's one Let's get them eyes up. Attention, look at each other. Yeah, nice one.
Why do you come here? Why are you doing
He can come over here and do a brief tour, and it's kind of like he flexes a muscle. You know, he has the crowd going absolutely bonkers. Business as usual in Morrisseyland.
People treat it like almost like a religious experience. It's crazy.
I remember
when Morrissey reaches over the note to touch you, you no longer feel lonely, you feel celebrated in the love of the one common sovereign, which is Morrissey.
From the very start of Morrissey's solo career, his concerts have been unique in their scenes of frenzied desperation, as fans seek to pay homage in the flesh.
Flinging themselves onto the stage to catch the king's touch, you know, the king could cure in some way the scrofula of loneliness.
If you notice, it's nearly all blokes. It's not women that do it, it's men. Men are in love with him, not women.
Because these are fully formed adults and mostly male, it's inexplicable. It doesn't fit into any kind of stereotyped heterosexual fantasy.
Young heterosexual men and now older heterosexual men respond to that at a homoerotic level. I think it speaks to the homosexual component in a lot of heterosexual men.
Sandy boy.
Tell you what, mate, as well, the Moz has a good bike. There aren't many left, are there, who have that charisma, that kind of iconic status, who can handle a crowd, manhandle a crowd, and leave you just wanting a little bit more.
Have you back?
I'm very happy, yes. Very, very happy. Yes. Should I be? Well, I am. Thank you.
Thank you.
The roots of the Morrissey phenomenon lie in the suburbs of Manchester, where this previously unseen home movie film was shot in the 1960s. It's the only existing footage of his Irish Catholic family with the young Morrissey.
I was named after an American actor called Steve Cochran, whom you've never heard of.
I know what you're trying to prove, but knock it off. It won't work. You're stuck with me, baby. And you know it.
I never liked the name Stephen, so I dropped it as soon as I could.
I would automatically call somebody by their first name, but if they only have one name, well, I would tend not to call anybody anything at all. I found I couldn't say Morrissey, this, such and such. I just wouldn't say his name.
My parents were worried about me, certainly when I became so deeply interested in music and people like the New York Dolls, who, at the time, were very peculiar indeed. dressed the way they wanted to dress, which was slightly transgender, shall we say, and I was hooked for life.
Morrissey was lurking around the breakfast rooms the morning after our shows and grabbing little bits of the bread rolls that we hadn't finished, and he would take them home and enshrine them in some sort of way.
This song ain't big enough for the both of us. Tell me who's gonna leave.
I first met Morrissey in 1976. I think our experience was of just absolutely no confidence in ourselves. Morrissey was totally unemployable. So a lot of the time we'd be just walking and walking and walking. And we'd look in through people's windows, and one of Morrissey's questions more than mine is, you know, but are they really happy?
He once said that the Smiths only happened because he'd walked home in the rain once too often.
The Smiths was an incredibly personal thing to me. It was like launching your own diary to music.
They've got this daffodil-throwing singer who has big ideas in his head, and his lyrics are going to change the way we see the world.
A recent poll voted the Smiths the most influential British band of all time. Morrissey's songwriting partner was guitarist Johnny Marr.
I would go out tonight, but I haven't got a stitch to wear.
It was magical chemistry. I always heard great sadness in his in these rolling chords and great beauty.
I'd like to drop my trousers to the world. I am a man of means, of slender means. Each household appliance is like a new science in my town.
You couldn't really imagine them in the same classroom being friends. You really imagine Marr being the guy that everyone wanted to be, and Morrissey being the slightly odd boy in the corner, who some people really got, but most people were just left well alone.
But what really set Morrissey apart was he chose to be alone. The first openly celibate rock star.
It was all added to the mystery, you know. I mean, how great is that, somebody who's like, I refuse to fuck? You know what I mean? That's just like, my God, you're so cool, you know. Could never refuse to fuck, really. But I have, you know.
I think that was the problem with the C word, because the celibate word, because they don't consider for a moment that you'd rather not be, but you just are. I was never a sexual person, never.
He was asked, are you a virgin? And he said yes, in quite a profound sense, or something like that. It was such a very Morrissey thing to say.
The unusual thing was, I said it and I admitted it, and it happens to millions of people, and they wouldn't dare say it or admit it because they'd feel like a complete idiot. I don't sob about it, but it wasn't easy, and it's over now.
I think Morrissey would still say celibacy is a great idea for nuns and priests. I'm not sure whether he would say that it was a good idea for him anymore.
In 1987, at the peak of their powers, the Smiths split up when Johnny Marr quit.
One night we had a conversation about it, and he was saying, I think it's about time and I've had enough, and I was saying, well, yes, I understand, but I didn't really mean it. I didn't really think that he'd completely pulled the plug.
I think the Smiths was the only group whose falling apart really affected me personally. It was very sad.
But the end would be drawn out and messy. In 1996, the Smiths drummer, Mike Joyce, sued Morrissey and Marr at the High Court for an increased share of the band's earnings. The judge found in Joyce's favour.
There was a terrible miscarriage of justice. So it's been really shocking, and I wish the very, very worst for Joyce for the rest of his life.
Beware, I bear more grudges than lonely high court judges. When you sleep, I will creep into your thoughts like a bad debt that you can't